Ne dersen de. Kalbin ellerimdeydi. Kim bilmiyoruz, arasak bulamayız. O küçücük ellerinle parmağımı hiç bırakmadın. Ben seni nasıl bırakayım kızım?
I have tried keeping a commonplace book before, and honestly, I didn't even finish 2 pages. At first, it just didn't make sense to me. For instance, in the case of books, the idea of transferring your annotations by hand used to feel robotic, like what's the point of copying something word for word when you have the physical book? And in the cases of articles and quotes, you could just save it on your phone or on Notion, which is what I have been doing. But lately I've been reading a lot about the actual benefits of writing things down by hand. How it helps your brain remember, how it slows your thoughts just enough for them to sink in. I also watched a ton of videos, and I'll link all of them down below. They explain the concept of commonplace books very well, and the more I learned, the more I realized it's not just about collecting quotes or ideas, it's about processing them and reflecting on them. There's one user in specific whose video was the most useful for me. Her channel name is, I think, Stacy Space, and she kind of did a very detailed breakdown of everything that one could possibly need, especially as a beginner like me. So that video was very, very helpful. I think part of me also wants to step away from the constant noise online to cut down my screen time and to be more intentional with what I'm consuming. So this time I'm starting again, not to make it perfect, not to fill every page neatly, but just to build a small creative space where I can meet my own thoughts again without a screen in between. And I know that all of this is unnecessary, but just using a pen and paper is not enjoyable for me. It just feels very robotic, and that's not what I want. So I added my own twist to it. And it may not make sense to others, but it doesn't have to, as long as it makes sense to me and I can find what I need. Speaking of finding things, I have a whole plan for the index part, but I don't have enough topics as of yet, of course. So once I do, I will sort that out. At first glance, it may seem like it's a mess, and honestly, that's the look I was going for, but it's not a mess. It's divided in a very specific way. So for instance, the quotes that are on a separate piece of paper, like this, as well as this, and this, these are the ones that have stood out the most to me. So I just wanted them to be divided from the rest of them. I have the page number underlined. As for the circles and the rest of the additional lines, that's just how I annotate my books. So I think my brain is kind of used to that. So I just did the same thing here. So I just wrote chapter 5, and chapter 5 was the one that stood out the most to me. So I wanted it to be on a separate page, and I chose 2 annotations from that chapter. I had about 15 or I think 19 maybe annotations in the book, out of which I only chose 10. And that's the plan for the future as well. I don't want to copy and paste every single quotation and every single annotation I make. I just want to keep the ones that have really stood out the most and the ones that I think I might want to find again in the future. This took around, I would say maybe 20 minutes, which was really good and also surprising. I thought it might have taken a lot longer. I'd love to know if you are someone that has kept commonplace books or if you do it currently. Leave some tips or some ideas down below. I'm very new to this, so I'd love to get some insight. And if you don't do commonplacing, and if you ever wanted to be more mindful about what you consume, read, or watch, whatever, then maybe start a commonplace book as well. It doesn't have to be this fancy, it just has to work for you.